Yes, yes, people. I'm here again. It's been a long time, but I'm back. Yeah, I'm here with Sani, the sports guy. You know him from Instagram. Great content. And we're here to talk about United current affairs, last few games, and obviously there's a couple of debates to have, sign of the season and whatnot. But we'll get into it. Well, let's get into it anyway. Sani, how you doing, mate?
I'm very good, thank you, Traps. Thanks for having me on once again. It's a cold night. We just started the month of February, but it's the month of love, and Man United have been giving us a lot of things to be happy about and cheering about. So happy days. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. I'm good. Just came back from watching Leipzig.
Of course, yeah.
So yeah, man, I'm in the mood for football, man. I'm in the mood for football. I'm looking forward to all the games coming over the next couple of weeks or so and whatnot. So yeah, man. But yeah, let's talk about Nottingham Forest. Obviously, getting to the cup final. How do you feel about the cup final? So how do you feel about the situation surrounding it and whatnot?
And man, it's been a while since we've hit a domestic cup final. Let's be honest. I think the last season must have been Mourinho when he got relegated. Not relegated. Sorry, the season before he got sacked. So what's that? 2017.
I think we got to the Europa League final.
Yeah, we got to the Europa League final under Oli, but like domestically, we haven't made an FA Cup final or Europa League final.
Yeah.
Sorry, Carabao since when Conte beat Mourinho. So it's been a while. You know, whether people like to admit it or not, a trophy's a trophy. I know some fans out there are going to be like, oh yeah, but you know, a lot of teams ridiculed Liverpool last season, but I think a lot of teams ridiculed Liverpool last season for winning those two cups because they didn't win the big ones, i.e. the Premier League and Champions League. Plus, you're looking at Liverpool's squad compared to our squad and where we are. Winning a trophy, Ten Hag's first season, be great. And in terms of the cup final, I'm looking forward to it, Traps. You know, Wembley's one of those special occasions for any big team. You know, everyone's got that song, you know, Que Sera, Sera, wherever we'll be. We're going to Wembley, and we'll definitely be singing that over the next couple of weeks because the game looks like it'll be at the end of February. So I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a good game against Newcastle. So it's an old rivalry being relit, especially for someone like Traps who kind of grew up with that rivalry as well, being in the 90s. I mean,
there was a one-off season. One-off season.
All right, fine. One-off season.
Where Kevin Keegan got rattled. Went on TV talking about I will love it if
I will love it if we beat them.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, all of that stuff. But
yeah,
I mean, yeah, I don't know. I just think that I don't really care what people have to say about. I mean, I've heard a lot of fans talking about it's just a milk cup or it's just this or it's just that. But I mean, these are mainly Arsenal fans here because you know I'm always here for the Arsenal slander in it. But they're calling it the milk cup, but they're the same fans that call Liverpool winning the league a pandemic league. But they seem to forget that the FA Cup they won was a pandemic FA Cup as well. But we'll keep quiet about that one. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. I feel like it's been a long time coming. I will be there, and yeah, it's just good to see that finally that these players that we have are they're not underperforming. They're performing at the highest level when it's important. And for me, I think Ten Hag he's got this philosophy where it's like, I don't care if you're playing Doncaster Rovers, we will play our strongest team and we will play to win. And so I think that's a good thing. I mean, at first I was a bit like concerned about, is he going to play? He should rest this one. He should rest that one. I don't think he's concerned about that. I think he just thinks, look, there's trophies here for the taking. I'm not taking any chances. I'll play my strongest team whilst he sees fit. And yeah, obviously we had the Reading game as well, so we're through to the fourth round as well. That performance, first half was a bit mad. It was a bit of a flat performance, but I just thought it's only a matter of time. But United do take their time now. They don't lose their heads. They build the play gradually, and then they just they carve out their chances as and when they do. But when they do carve their chances out, the goals come. So it's not really an issue in my opinion.
Yeah, but I agree. I mean, looking at our Reading game, you're right. First half wasn't great, but then second half, you could tell. I think the pressure kind of got to Reading. To be honest, we were flooding them, especially on the flanks, quite a lot. and the pressure stood. And then to think that Casemiro, a player which I'll hold my hands up, I was a bit like, I'm surprised we signed him considering what Ten Hag's trying to play. The fact that guy was on a hat trick in an FA Cup as a CDM, right, is crazy. And you got to give your shout out to Casemiro for playing amazing this season for us, and you got to give a shout out to Ten Hag as well. He's got that system working, like you said. He tries to put his best players out, which unfortunately has meant that one of the players that we'll get onto later, Christian Eriksen, has now got injured because Andy Carroll, for some weird reason, somehow was on the pitch for so long and he scissored. I know that might sound really bad, but he scissored Christian Eriksen, and means that Christian Eriksen's injured, which means now we've got Marcel Sabitzer at the club. But listen, good performance.
What do you think of that? What do you think of that one?
Sabitzer, it's a good stopgap, I guess, for half a season. He's not the same as Eriksen. He's not as creative as Eriksen. He's more of a box-to-box player. Listen, at the end of the day, when we're desperate like we were, we'd have to make do with anyone. I don't think it's the best signing in the world, but he'll do a job. And you never know with Ten Hag, like you mentioned earlier, how he's improved players and he's got players performing to their best level. You never know. He might get Sabitzer playing to the level what he was playing at one of your favourite clubs in Germany, Leipzig, because at Bayern, he hasn't really, took off. So let's see.
I mean, you have to remember at Bayern, he has to get in front of Kimmich and Goretzka. It's a hard task anyway. Do you know what I mean? So for him to get in front of those guys, I mean, I'm not too sure what Nagelsmann does over there. Does he rotate? I'm not too sure, but probably not, because Cancelo's gone over there, just got straight in the team. So, I mean, Sabitzer for me, I've had many conversations, many debates about who's this and who's good and who's not and who's shit and who's this. But I've never had a conversation about Sabitzer. Never, ever had a debate about Sabitzer. So, I mean, I know he was cooking a few years ago when he was at Leipzig. I don't know how good he is now. I mean, I've heard people say that he could be an upgrade to Eriksen, which I doubt very much. Eriksen is the most, I think he's second to De Bruyne, on assist in the Premier League, despite having a heart attack and coming out the league, going to play for Inter Milan for a year or two.
I think he's got a pacemaker in his heart as well, which is why he can't.
Yeah, so I think people underappreciate Eriksen, which is a bit mad. They shouldn't really.
But it's funny you mentioned how he's second behind, assisting De Bruyne, because when Eriksen was at Spurs, you'll remember this. Eriksen was being, people were saying, he's the best central attacking midfielder in the Prem, at one stage. And he was unbelievable for Spurs. Why Spurs got rid of him, I don't know. I know he wanted to go to Italy, but why?
I think he wanted to leave, to be fair.
Yeah, maybe, fair enough. But the fact that he was there as an option to be signed back, after his stint at Brentford, and the fact that Spurs didn't even try is crazy, because he is such a good player. And upgrade on Eriksen, I think for me, that's way too much. People need to stop being knee-jerk and just, call it how it is. Eriksen's been one of our best players this season. For Sabitzer to, be better than Eriksen this season, he's going to have to score, a lot of goals, I'd say, and have a lot more assists. And I can't really see, but listen,
I think Eriksen's even second in the list of assists for the season in the Premier League this season as well.
That is telling, and the fact that he's injured now is going to be massive for us. So, listen, we'll see. We're into the next round. We've got West Ham, I think, in the next round at home. So, realistically, we're playing at home. The team's playing well. Yes, we'll have a lot of games, in the next several weeks, but I can see us winning that as well. And then we'll get on to the quarterfinals. So, listen, Ten Hag's doing well. He's got the team playing well. Whichever player comes in to the team does a job. I mean, we need to speak about this player, Garnacho, who has been a revelation, I think, this season. Whenever he's played for us, he looks amazing. So, things are looking good for us. Things are looking bright.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think that as a team, they're showing massive progress over the space of 6 months. And yeah, I mean, there are a few players that are taking their time. Like, for instance, today I saw an unbelievable take by Gabby Agbonlahor today.
Here we go.
And he said, what did he say? He said, he basically read out a load of stats saying that he's got 3 goals in the league, 1 assist in the FA Cup, 1 goal in the EFL Cup. And I thought to myself, I don't remember Gabby Agbonlahor scoring that many goals, if I'm honest. So I took the liberty of going to see for myself what his stats was like. And his stats were dreadful for a striker, and he had pace. And to shoot himself in the foot even more, yeah, he even went on to say that he was playing with a great winger in Ashley Young, who still plays football to this day. So why are your numbers so bad? And what makes you think that you can come on TalkSport and talk about these players that have just come to the country? Everyone should get a grace period, like maybe a year, season or so. And it's just like, why are you going to sit there and be like, this guy's not doing this and this guy's not doing that, when you know full well from being in their shoes how hard it is to maintain your form? And he wasn't even at a top club. So I don't know, man. I just think Anthony, I'm not going to comment on Anthony. You know what I said about him? I did call him a TikTok baller because that's all that's all I saw of him. Do you know what I mean? I'm giving him a year. I'm not commenting on him. Next season, he has to perform next season. Whatever he does, because his numbers are not that bad though. If you actually think about it, they're not that terrible.
Yeah, but I think it's more like his playing style and what he brings to the team. He doesn't really. Whenever I've seen him play, he doesn't really offer a lot. He loses the ball a lot. He does a lot of trickery on the wing, but it's like you got to have end product at the end of the day. And like you said, he definitely deserves a season. Any player really that signs for a club, you've got to give them time to bed in this. Like, especially like you said, for a player like Anthony, who's come from Ajax to a country like England, completely different. The culture's completely different. All of that sort of stuff. You come into Man United, one of the biggest clubs in the world. It's going to take you some time, right? So I agree with you on that. I think there's another player that we need to speak about who also plays on the right, Sancho. Now, people might say, "Oh, he needs to be performing this season. He's been here a year already." Cool, but last season was very turbulent. 2, this season, you need to contextualize it. He got sent away. I think he went to Holland for training camp, right? He's only just come back. You got to give him some time as well. If it turns out that next season he's still not performing, then you can say, fair enough, Sancho just hasn't worked out. But people, they're just not patient in this world. And what do they say? Patience is a virtue. Clearly, for many people, they don't have that virtue bestowed on them by God.
Do you know what I think? I think, right? I think that Ten Hag has sent him away. Said, look, you need to get back to your best. You've got the potential. I honestly think that if Ten Hag thought that this player was no good, or there was no way to fix the problem, because if he you have to remember, he's fixed Aaron Wan-Bissaka, fixed him.
Agreed.
Yeah, he's completely fixed him. Even De Gea playing out from the back, completely fixed him. I think if he thought to himself, I ain't got time to deal with this guy. This guy's attitude is poor, or he's not applying himself, or social media comes before and he's getting paid too much money. He would have sat him on the bench and said, look, in the summer, I want him gone. But the fact that he's actually sent him away in a separate regime, said to him, look, this is what you done. And Sancho's actually gone. He hasn't kicked up a fuss. He's deleted his social media. He's gone over there. He's knuckled down. Yesterday, he came in, put in a good pre-assist, a nice little pass. But yeah, I don't think that Sancho is as bad as people make out. I just feel like he's not hitting his potential.
Agreed.
That's a fact. But his performances are not absolutely disgraceful to the point where people are like, this is a waste of money. Because on his CV at United already, he's already scored against Liverpool, scored against Man City, scored against Chelsea. So he's not disappeared in big games. He's showed up in big games. Some of the big games, he was the only player to show up. I mean, even I remember when we lost against Liverpool at Anfield, and he came on, and him and Hannibal were the only 2 players that actually wanted to get something out of the game. And for me, it was just like Sancho. For me, he's got one thing. He has got is time. Time is well and truly on his side.
Agreed.
So he doesn't need. I would like him to. Don't get me wrong. I'd like him to step up to the plate and just start scoring goals out the blue. But it might be a process. But it might not. He's had 3 months out. He might be. Ten Hag's not going to put him on if he didn't believe that he could play. Because as you can see, people like Pellistri, who we think he's had a good couple of cameos now, he still struggles to get minutes. So he had no qualms about throwing on Sancho before thinking about throwing on Pellistri. So I think Sancho is ready, man. I think I'm going to give him I'm going to implement the 10 game rule. Yeah, he gets a 10 game rule. He gets a 10 game, to show me or to show everyone what he's got, and then we'll go from there.
All right,
We'll
10 games it is, people. 10 games it is. The Traps 10 games rule. Let's see what happens after 10 games. Will Sancho be back? Let us know in the comments. But, I mean, before we move on to, the transfer window and the speaking about other clubs and signing of the season, one thing I have to say is you got to give a shout out to Lisandro Martinez, especially after that first game against Brentford. I was there like, there's a reason why centre-backs aren't 5'6". There's a reason why, they're going to struggle against big strikers, which I do still stand by. I think if you put a striker on him who's like 6'4", he's going to struggle naturally, right? Because you're not going to win a flick on. But Lisandro Martinez, oh my God, what a centre-back. I got to hold my hands up. I didn't think he'd be this good. He is fantastic.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'll do a real naming and shaming myself, don't worry. But I said in the big. Remember, I went to the Brentford match. I watched it. It was so bad. It was funny. It wasn't even like, oh my God, like it was just like, this is so bad. Yeah, that this can't get any worse. That's what I thought to myself. But remember, I said, look, against the big, tall, strong, strikers and whatnot. I said, surely he's got to look at the boss and say, bruv, I don't think this one's for me. Like, I didn't actually say he couldn't play. I just said, against these kind of strikers and the way they want to play, I don't think he can play. And I think Ten Hag's learned that now because, for instance, against the City game, he obviously had to sit that one out, to be fair. But to be honest with you, Martinez has been a revelation. Varane, got to give him a round of applause. He's managed to stay, fit. I'm going to say this. Let me touch some wood. I'm going to say this here. So he's managed to stay fit for practically half a season now, which is like, because I said if he gets injured again this season, like and he's out for like 5, 6, 7, 8 games or something, I'm done with him. I mean, I can't be bothered to put my faith. It's like Martial came back last night. I'm done with him. I don't care how many goals he scores between now and the end of the season. I'm actually done with him because he'll get on the run of form. This is what annoys me about Anthony Martial, right? Is that he gets on a run of form. Not to say this is his fault, and I'm not trying to. Don't get me wrong. Injuries you can't think, but the thing is, what I don't get with him is he gets on a run of form, scores a few goals. When he gets injured, he always walks off the pitch. He doesn't get carried off the pitch or stretchered off the pitch. He just walks off. So it's like, what is actually going on here? Does he have like a problem with his brain or something that just shuts off, and they have to just get him off the pitch because he just goes like football blind or something? Like, I don't know, but it's just, the team is just doing us. It's doing the fans proud. Like I said, we've got a final to look forward to of the Milk Cup. It's good to see the fans are happy, everyone's happy. And yeah, man, it's good to be a United fan right now.
I agree that the feelings are great. The feel good factors back at the club. Going to Old Trafford is going to be hard now. Back in the Fergie days, it was so hard. There was a fear factor there, and it's looking good. But I mean, I guess it turns nicely into the next topic of conversation, and that is, signing of the season. I know you've been raring to go on this one. You've been ready for this. I can already see where it's going. But who is signing of the season for you, Traps?
Well, if we go through it, I'm not going to do... No, I am. I actually am, because one of my signings of the season is not a big six player. Yeah. So, for me, when I think of signing of the season, right, I think of impact. What impact has the person made? It's not about ability-wise, what they can do. It's about what they have done. Do you know what I mean? So for me, Haaland's not in it. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Why is that? That's a big take.
Because City sit second in the league, right? They look very beatable, and they have been beaten quite a few times this season. And to be honest with you, and I'm talking about till now, I'm not talking about what goes on after this stream or whatnot. I'm talking about up until now. City haven't looked like City all season. There's not been there's not a game where, well, there is a couple of games, but what I noticed about City from, I don't know, this might not be Haaland's fault either, because like I said, there's some sort of unrest going on at the club because Cancelo's been put out to loan and he's one of their best players. But I know no matter how many goals Haaland scored, I've noticed that City leak goals. Doesn't matter. They might, whereas they was beating teams 4-0, 5-0, 3-0 last season, the season before, whatnot. It's always like a 4-2 or 3-1, or do you know what I mean? They're always leaking goals now. So I feel like the team that Pep's trying to build this season isn't effective, and I feel like he's had to change it because he's got the big number 9 now. So that's something that he doesn't really play with. So obviously, he's had Lewandowski, but I mean, Barcelona days, his most successful period, didn't really have the big number 9, and he had Ibrahimovic. He got rid of him as soon as possible. So for me, I don't think he's a sign of the season, and it's all about impact. Like I said, ability-wise, yes, 25, like Waleed said here, 25 goals in 19 games. That's fine, 25 goals in 19 games. But the impact, City don't have a problem scoring goals. They've never had a problem scoring goals. That's one thing. And what else is he bringing? So I don't think that's a sign of a season. I don't think that's the signing to propel them into, like that domination. Do you know, like how they was dominating? I don't think that propels them even higher. I don't think it does. Darwin Núñez.
Why have you mentioned him? I thought we were going to miss him.
We're not going to miss Darwin Núñez because I just want to say this, right? Even though he has had quite a bit of a stinker since he started, I still believe that this guy is going to eventually cook. He gets way too many chances in a game.
He gets a lot of chances. And he gets in good positions. He gets in a lot of good positions as well.
Yeah. Do you remember Arshavin? Remember that Arshavin was the same, yeah? And remember he had that one game against Liverpool where he scored the 4 goals. Remember that? Yeah, that game. So I think there's going to be a point where Núñez gets his act together. So he's not signing the season so far, definitely, but I don't think he is gonna. I'm not gonna write him off yet either. Like I said, you give him a season's grace anyway. I'm not talking about Gakpo. Forget him. Who else? Chelsea. We can't talk about Chelsea because this stream is going to be half an hour, 35 minutes at tops. So if we're going to talk about all the Chelsea transfers, we're going to be here till tomorrow. So we're not doing that. Then none of them, by the way, are the side of the season. I'm not talking about the ones they got in January either. I'm talking about even the ones they got in the summer.
Okay. Spurs.
For me, I think the signing of the season is Matoma. Is it Matoma?
Or Brighton.
As either Matoma or Casemiro. That's my two that I think that are the signings of the season.
I think we need to make a triple threat before you get into it. I think you need to add Bruno Guimaraes into it from Newcastle.
Was he not last season though?
No, I think it was this season. I'm pretty sure he signed in the summer.
Maybe. If I thought it was last season. If he's this season, then yeah, definitely. Waleed again says, plus Zidane is up there. I would say Jesus, but listen, Jesus is not going in my team either, man. But what's Jesus got? Why is Jesus signing of the season when he being out of the team has not affected you in any way, shape, or form? Yeah, you've got Eddie Nketiah banging goals. They've even got a song for him now. You've got a song for him now. Yeah, your defense is in trouble. Yeah, so they've got a song for him now. So they don't care. He's not. They're going to talk about in the dressing room, the mentality in the dressing room. But we've seen the mentality.
It's an intangible thing. It's like, how are you meant to really measure that? Because agreed, Zinchenko has definitely helped the mentality of Arsenal. There's no denying it. But there's no way to physically measure that. Whereas like a Mitoma, like you mentioned him, he's come in unbelievable for Brighton. Casemiro, again, defensive metrics, how much we win with Casemiro compared to without. The stats are there for you to see. Like, it's physical, tangible stuff which you can measure. Yeah. Whereas
exactly.
with like Zinchenko, I get what Walid is saying in terms of the mentality and his impact has been elite, etc. Fine, he's come from Manchester City, who's been a winner, but it's intangible. You can't really measure it.
Walid
was right. Yeah.
Walid said he was in last year, so we're not putting Bruno Guimaraes in there. But for me, like I said, it's either Matoma or Casemiro so far because of the impact that they have. Like Brighton are sitting in 6th. They're in 6th place now. I mean, I could see them in the Europa Conference. Obviously, they've kept Moises Caicedo. He'll get his act together. He'll bounce back from his little tantrum, which I don't think players should do, but that's another story anyway. But he'll bounce back, and they'll probably. I could see them playing conference next season, finishing 7th or something, playing conference next season.
I mean, let's think about it. Teams in the top 8. You got obviously Arsenal, City, us, Newcastle. Spurs are currently 5th. Fulham are 6th or Brighton are 6th. I can't remember out of the two.
I think Brighton are 6th.
Fulham are still there. Like Fulham have done really well. I'll be honest with you, I thought Fulham were going to get relegated, but a player that has been done very well for them is that Palhinha, the central defensive midfielder. He's been very good for them as well. But you know,
even Pereira, don't you think? Even Pereira's been
done well. But a player you've got to shout out, and it's funny because Traps actually mentioned him. I think it was around August, September time in terms of signing someone, and his name is Mitrovic.
Yeah, don't you remember when I said when in the beginning I said, look, you cannot ignore the fact that he scored 42 goals or 43 goals in the championship. If I was going to take a striker right now on the cheap, probably not even that cheap, at the beginning of the season, I would have took Mitrovic. I would have. Yeah. 100%. I would have took Mitrovic. But
he's a great player.
Then again, he's not the sign of the season. Like he's not.
No, he was there before anyway. To be fair, it's good to see him actually bang goals in the Prem because there's always the idea of. For example, he gets a lot of goals in the championship, but what about this season? But Mitrovic has done really well for this season, so you've just got to respect that.
Yeah, yes, indeed. But Walid again says, by the way, they signed Matoma last year, but we're not doing that, Walid, right? We're not doing that. Yeah, he was on loan. He didn't play for Brighton. They've now brought him back because right now, yeah, what you would want us to say, I mean.
Saliba, you gotta give it a shot.
Yeah, but it's just what I'm trying to say. Saliba is the same difference. For me, Saliba's a signing this season signing. Yeah, because he hasn't played for Arsenal until this season.
He's done fantastic for Arsenal. Great impact.
I mean, I would. Do you know what? If I'm going to put a top 3, I would probably put him in the top 3. If I'm going to be totally honest with you, I'd probably say Saliba, Matoma, and Casemiro. Casemiro being the top one. Why? Because the stick that he got when he came, yeah, people was like, "Oh, he's here for one last payday." Steady Eddie. He's not what he was going to be at Madrid. He's not going to be. He's had his best years or whatnot, and for him to go on and just ignore everything, even the other day, right when he scored the brace, he was like, he put his arm around Anthony and he was like, letting everyone know that listen, he contributes. Like he's seen that he's obviously so if he's seen the stick that Anthony's getting on the internet, he's obviously seen what people have said about him. So I just feel like what he's done for us, how we play without him, compared to when we play. I think there's a stat saying I think when him and Bruno play, we haven't lost a game. I think or when him and Varane as well, but we haven't lost a game when that combination is available. So. For me, he is what we've been asking for years. This is what I said. I said if in the season where Oli finished second, if we would have got a DM, if we would have got Casemiro, we probably would have won the league. Probably.
We were only a few points off City, but I think it's crazy to think, Traps, that realistically the position, and you know this being a lifelong Man United fan, the position that's always kind of been a thing for us is, oh God, if we haven't replaced Roy Keane since he left. It's always been a thing for us. We had Carrick for a bit, deep line playmaker, whatever. We never really ever replaced Roy Keane as a midfielder like that, who was quite good as a defensive player. And now we've got Casemiro, who's just a pure defensive destroyer. And I'm glad we've got him because he's a fantastic player.
Yeah, but people put him down as a destroyer, but I don't understand that. This destroyer thing that they call it. They say that he's
job. He sweeps up everything, but he can get the ball moving forward as well.
He moves the ball forward. He's got a goal in him. He's got an assist in him. Great. He can long pass, short pass. He can do everything. So all this, he's just a destroyer. He's just this. He's proved everybody wrong. And when he first came, when they first started talking about it, one of my friends was like, "Oh, you lot are in for Casemiro," and I said to myself, "I was like, I am not buying this. Yeah, I'm not buying this. There's no way. I'm not buying this." And he was like, "Why are you not excited about this?" I said, "Bruv, I'll be honest with you. Yeah, I don't believe this one. Like, this is one I don't believe. I'm sorry, I don't believe." But the next thing you know, I've looked and I see him crying in the press free. I was like, "What? We're actually getting him, yeah." And then I thought, you know what? Yeah, this is a season, right, where, I mean, yeah, there is a lot of work to be done and there's a lot of rebuilding to be done. Like I said, Casemiro is 30 years old. He's not going to be around forever. You know what I mean? So, I mean, as long as we get 2 or 3 or 4 seasons out of him, it's fine. But I mean, this season could be one of them niche opportunities that Ten Hag has just to win a trophy with a team that he's got. You know what I mean? Because he might have to replace Casemiro in years to come. He's gonna have to replace Varane, De Gea. He's gonna have to get a striker in. So there might be a transitional period. Might be the season where everything's just clicked for him, like this season, so he can actually go on and claim a trophy. He might even claim a couple of trophies. But one thing I do want, I do want us to. I'm going to be watching the Barcelona game very closely, because I feel like nothing will give me greater pleasure, right, than beating Barcelona, and getting another chance to dance with Arsenal, just once more, just once more this season, because I feel both sides full strength, maybe the final of the Europa League. That would do that there would, for me, would be perfect.
Oh God, be careful what you wish for. I think that's a hard game for us personally. I get what you're saying, full strength. Like, we didn't have Casemiro against Arsenal, but they are a very, very good team, Arsenal. Like, both games, they probably should have won, if I'm being honest with you. Like, they won the second one. They played better than us, Traps. They're in a
that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But sometimes, right? I mean, you have to remember. Yeah, look at what Carrick done against Chelsea last season.
Mm.
They absolutely like they bombarded us, for about 60 minutes or so. I don't know, But then out of nowhere, Jorginho makes a mistake and we're in, we didn't necessarily deserve to win that game, or lose it. To be fair, it was a draw though. But to be fair, everyone thought we were going to go there and get completely beat. Do you know what I mean? And so sometimes it's not about how you play or how it looks to the eye, because Mourinho was the master of this. He would go 1-0 up and just stink the rest of the game out until he was the master of that. So it's like, sometimes you win ugly, sometimes you don't, innit? But I just think that, right, Arsenal haven't conceded 2 goals in the league, at the Emirates since October, prior to this game. So for me, if we're not on their level or they're much better than us, I don't think we're far off. And I don't think we've got a long time to wait until we can actually go. Well, they seem to say we didn't go toe to toe, but I don't know if we didn't lose it, winning the game in the 91st minute, and it's not like a 1-0, it's a 3-2. If that's not toe to toe, then I don't know what that is. But their greatest player, Henri, said we went toe to toe. So if you don't know about football, then neither do I. You know what I mean? But yeah. Anyways, I think we said enough. Who have we got this weekend?
We have got Crystal Palace at home.
Oh dear. Yeah.
Revenge is on the clock.
We'll talk about that one as we go. But yeah, guys, you know what to do. Thanks for joining. Yeah. We'll see you soon.
See you soon, people. Peace.